Hey guys, how's it going? Kyle here again, and we have yet another aquarium video brought to you today, and it actually might even be two. We have quite a bit of maintenance and stuff that's going to happen today. We're going to be adding some reactors. We're going to be altering our drainage plumbing system setup, etc. We're going to be doing some extra plumbing for the new reactors. We're going to be cleaning out and rerouting some of the actual water flow in the sump itself. So needless to say, it's like 6 o'clock right now. It's going to be a long next few hours. Like, I'm probably figuring it's going to take into the night. It might be 10, 11 o'clock. Plus I have to do some of my regular maintenance because we're going out of town. So that means that regular maintenance is empty the skimmer because it's filthy. You don't have to watch me do that. I'm going to build also a skimmer stand to make the stand the skimmer sit a little higher in the sump, and then just do a couple of just quick things like that to make life a little bit better. So without further ado, we're going to get started. This may be one video, this might be two videos, or this video and the next video might be kind of turned together in one. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that, so sorry if they kind of seem a little choppy, but at the same time I think it'll work out alright. And I think after about 10 to 15 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes of shooting, I might realize, yeah, this is gonna, I'll probably wrap up one video and start the next one. So we'll see, but for now we're gonna get started and kind of go underneath the tank and take a look. Alright, so here's kind of the plan for tonight. We're going to clean the skimmer out and really clean it completely up. We've got to empty it. I've got to reseed it again because we've got a little water down here, which is the O-ring. The only thing about the skims that I'm not just super thrilled about is every once in a while the O-ring loses its seal, and then it starts to do this where, and really all you have to do is reseed it, but I don't want to do that necessarily until I'm ready to clean it out. So, which I mean, there's plenty of poop and nastiness in there right now, so I can go ahead and clean it out. It's no big deal. Skimmer's going to come all the way out right now. I'm also going to end up draining this entire section and getting it completely cleared and cleaned out to where we can do a little bit of work down here in a dry area. I'm going to clean off. There's a little bit of cyano growing down here, which has been, since it's dying off because I put the black poly up here to kind of keep the light from coming down. But we're really going to address that right now by, I've bought two of the deluxe BRS reactors. I have another one over there, and these things are stout. They are ruggedly built. I'm really happy with it. The nice push release that releases extra pressure, so you just press down and it will psh, if there's any pressure extra behind it. Two really solid wrenches. I mean, the construction of this thing is just, you can feel it. It is incredibly heavy in a good way. So and I really just want to make life easier. What I'm going to do is move. I'm going to put these guys here, I think 1 and 2. So I'm probably going to have to either move these, which is fine, I really don't care, and even if I do, I might even just move this over to be underneath of that one and have both the reactors here and here real close by. This tube is going to be fed to the back because all the drain is going to end up in the far back hole back here where this white PVC is coming. So all of this pipe will end up back there, both of these will end up back there, and so will the return for this reactor. And what I'm going to do is build in polycarbonate in here, which is actually these pieces right here. I'm going to build in these polycarbonate pieces to have all the bubbles, all the drains go into that chamber. I'm going to make a chamber out of these three sections, and so the far section will be chambered off, and that's where water will come in. It will lift, raise up, and then spill over these two, and then dump through and down, and that's how it will continue on. So that's how I'll be able to quickly do filter socks. Gosh, I wish I had thought about doing that up front because, gosh, it makes so much sense. But then that way, so the water will just spill into the filter socks here. I think that's the best way to do it. It'll be a piece of cake. So now it's just a matter of kind of redoing stuff. So I'm going to have to turn the pump off. I'm going to have to reroute some things, clean up down here. It's still kind of messy. I'm going to bind up the cables and get it looking tidy again. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. I just kind of got to go do the next level, the next thing. So we're going to start just simply by cleaning out the skimmer. You probably don't have any interest in that, and so I'm not going to really show that. I'm just going to take the skimmer out, clean it out, and then again set it aside. I am also building a stand because right now the water level is exactly 9 inches, which is the highest this skimmer is supposed to be for. I want to raise the skimmer up about 3.5 to 4 inches, and that way I can possibly turn the actual, like I'm only halfway right now on the skimmer settings, and that's the most I can go, otherwise it overflows. So I want to lift it up out of the water so I can possibly turn it up and get a little bit more reaction in there, because I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a great skim, but it's, and right now because the seal's lost, I have no extra skimmate coming in, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple of things, and I'll update you as I go here. Alright, the skimmer is out, and we have some junk in the bottom that needs to be cleaned up, some stuff to scrape off here. What I want to show you though is, if you notice, there's only one side of my return pushing right now. That's the other side, one side's right there. And how do I do that, you ask? Because the pump, it's a 4,000 through 3,600 gallon per hour pump. All I did was close it off halfway. And maybe a little bit more. The telltale is if you still have bubbles coming out, because I have a, not a Herbie, the other one, I can't think of the name of it, but where there's a hole in the top, so it sucks down air to help keep it quiet. So as long as you still see air coming out of your one side, I just closed off that valve right there, which is the drain that I'm trying to adjust here. So the pump is still on. Now, to be fair, there's not as much stuff going up there, and so I can actually even open it up a little bit more for the fish, and I can pay attention to that by how much water is being pushed up there. So, and you can see how much water is coming down. The more air, and you know, it's now there's even more happening because more water is coming down, so it's sucking more air with it, which is fine by me. I don't really care. The goal is not to have the tank up top overflow. So right now only one side is operating, this side, but that side is not. But the water level's maintaining. I'll even just close it off a little bit still. I'd rather be safer than sorry. The fish will be okay. But anyways, I should not have any issues. I'm not worried about it. I believe I have plenty of capacity. Now, if the bubbles stopped, that means that we hit full siphon and that we've hit the pipe's capacity. No good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this guy here, this green one here, because really the length, it's about right. I'm going to have to cut off. I might just lop this off right here and put a new 45 on it. Or I might even just rebuild that whole section by itself. I'm not sure. I have plenty of plumbing to do all of it, so I can, once I cut it, I can kind of see, all right, what makes sense. So that's what I'm going to start with. Okay, so that was easy enough. And I gave myself a little bit, like plenty of extra here to where I could just use this piece if I wanted to. I could just use a couple around here. So I've got plenty of space to do that. I will just cut, I think, that bottom 45 off, and I think that'll work, because, and I might even trim up some of this up here, like cut a little bit more off this side to where this lands kind of more like that or so. That's probably what I'll have to do. So I'm going to go ahead and make those cuts and get that taken care of. Alright, so I actually decided to lop off this end down here, because I think what I'm going to do is be able to push this, push this right here, and then it'll let it be right in front of this piece, which is perfect because there's plenty of space in the hole. It's just a matter of getting it there. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is just put a coupler on this side and put it on there. I trimmed this even a little bit more too, and then this I'll put a 45 on it once it's in place. That way I can direct it the way it needs to go. Alright, cool. So I went ahead, managed to cut that off, got it routed to the area that I wanted to route it to, turned it on, tested it, we're watertight there. I also went ahead and plumbed in my little half-inch to NPT something or other. I've got like 3 different adaptations that I have to do here. So I'm going to let this go. I've already siliconed the threads onto the slip piece, the reducer piece for that, and then now I'm going to go ahead and move this type of stuff around, get it over. I've got to figure out how I'm going to do this, the baffles here and here. I got to figure out how to do that pretty quick. Actually, that's probably the next thing I'm going to have to figure out how to do. Clean this up. I'm getting rid of all this, for the most part, most of this Kato, because it's either A, dead, if it's that white on top, it means it's pretty much dead, and then also it has so much hair algae around it, and then cleaning off this stuff still, so, which I have found my blade for, hurrah. So as a matter of fact, I can do that right now. Hey look, it's that easy. Yeah, so, that's done. So, yeah. The next thing, I've got to figure out these baffles. I'm going to have to go up here. One thing, I think I pointed this out in the past. I have a huge faux pas that I wish I had not screwed up front. My manifold is on the wrong side of my check valve. So the check valve is the first thing after the pump for me, and that is wrong. I should have done 2 3/4 inch check valves here and here, one on each side. On the returns up, because right now, whenever I turn the pump off, it still drains out the manifold through this into the sump. Now the sump has plenty of space to handle that. I just have to make sure that the return spigots are still, that they're high enough to where we don't have issues going forward. So yeah, that's kind of the gist. So I'm going to go ahead and lift those up and then turn the pump off and try to figure out what I want to do about this. I'm going to have to probably drain this to either a bucket or whatever. Yeah, that'll be the next set. Alright, so I pretty well powered through, so I drained it. I had almost 2 of the 5 gallon buckets full, excuse me. So I've drained it. I went ahead and placed the baffles in there and glued them with silicone. Now the bottom would not stay completely clean. I turned off every single bit of water that could come, and there's still water draining through here. So I put a ton of silicone around that, and then I used the wife's hair dryer, or well, one of the travel hair dryers at least. God knows there's plenty. And just as water was dripping down, I just stuck this at the joints and just went. Now, that's on the inside. Oh, that's just a clean spot. It looks like a big black spot because of the, anyways, I gooped up the corners inside. I did my best. Now, once I got this piece on, I couldn't reach inside and goop the corners up from the inside, so I went down the outside really, really well on this one. I mean, if some of the water comes out, it's not the end of the world. It's no big deal, but because this is all inside the sump, it's no big deal. This is just for water management, bubble management, and so water will come down into that chamber, overflow that chamber, and then run down into these chambers where the socks will be here. So water will run this way to this way. And then I miscalculated a little bit, and I have a gap that's about that big there. So, well, and then again, I also had virtually no more poly, so it really didn't matter. But you know what, that's fine. That's just an emergency dump area, if you will. I might try to find something to go there. I don't know if I have anything. I would totally Frankenstein that. So anyways, so I've had the hairdryer on there for at least 10 to 15 minutes just blowing. And then I have the fan that's in here. They say with silicone you're supposed to give it 24 hours to fully cure before you put water through it. You know, sure. I'm going to say I believe them. I believe that that's probably what they intend for. However, I think that in our scenario here, with having the blow dryer on it and the fan, I'm going to leave the fan in there. I've got my power heads going up there. So I mean, we're breaking the water, surface tension in the water. We're oxygenating it enough. I'm not worried about the fish running out of oxygen or anything. we're not talking about doing this overnight. We're talking about doing this here for a couple of, maybe an hour or two. I mean, the clowns are just chilling, the convicts is chilling, and the other chromie is running around back there. I think I lost my sickly looking chromie. I can't find him, so I haven't seen him in like a day and a half, and he hasn't come out whenever I fed, so I have no idea where he is. I don't know. Which sucks. That means that there's something rotting in my tank, and I don't know where it is, but meh. What can you do, I guess? But anyway, so I'm going to let this dry as best I can. I'm going to walk away for probably 35, maybe an hour to hour and a half, and make sure that that's not going to go anywhere. And then, yeah, so I will be back. Alright, so it's been about an hour and a half. I filled it up, and I put water back in the sump, and I filled this area up. There's a couple of little leaks that come out up here. Nothing that I'm really worried about, to be honest with you. It's, I mean, they're just a couple of little, squirters from silicone not being completely closed off. And the other thing was that I was filling that up, so the pressure is, being pushed out, where now that the water's on the outside of it, it's kind of equalized. Water's pushing from the outside in, plus the inside out, so it does spill over, even with about 150, just my ATO pump, it spills over. So when the big pump gets going, there's no doubt that water's going to be where I want it to be here. I'm not worried about it. So I put the water that I reclaimed, and then now I'm about to go add some more fresh water. I did about a 10-gallon water change here, which is, good, great. So I'm going to add about 10 gallons in here from my ATO system, and then get the sump, or excuse me, the skimmer back in here and turn it all on, and we'll just start her up. Well, it's hard to ask for much better than that. That is fantastic. Both the sumps, the second one's not getting a whole lot of action. I think what I'm actually even going to end up doing is raising the height of this. I'm going to add another strip all the way down, so that's where more water can channel across the back. And then, of course, I'm going to close this off here. But yeah, I mean, that's about as good as I can ask for. I have a hard time asking for anything better than that. So I'm just going to let this be. I had to torque the pump down a little bit, which I think it'll be okay. But yeah. I'm really satisfied with how it turned out, and at least I'm okay with, I don't need to worry about going down anymore. I'll just glue a piece across the top and cover that piece right there. That way the majority of the water is going to be landing through this, so I'm alright with it. I'm good. So anyway, so now skimmer's back in place. I need to put it on this little pedestal, which I haven't made yet. It'll take just a few minutes. I'll do that, and then I will set that up.